This class is presented in voice and text, and there are some visual aids that I will put up on the texture board. You can left-click on the Firestorm class notes and first aid kit box near me to get the class notes for all of our classes, as well as a few other goodies. These class notes do get updated semi-regularly, so you may want to grab a fresh copy. To adjust voice volumes, you can go to the COM menu, click on Nearby Voice to open the Nearby Voice panel. From there, you can adjust individual volumes by slider. So, welcome to our Firestorm Preferences Set 1. The class material here is based on the 4.6.5 release. I should give you all a warning. We are recording this for our video archives, so people can go back and watch classes online if they can't see them because the time zone they're in. Just for you, Kimmy. The material we're going to go over here covers some of our preferences. In particular, we're going to go over the general, chat, and privacy tabs. If you have any questions about the topic we're on, please put them in local chat. Text is best during the class. Voice is more than welcome afterwards. And one of us will answer as soon as we can. If you have off-topic questions, please wait until after the class to ask them. We have an open question and answer session after our classes. And if you're not sure, just type your question out anyhow. The worst that's going to happen is I'll say, please ask me again after the class. So Control P, or Avatar Menu Preferences, will open your preferences. There's also a toolbar button available for that. Now, we're going to start on the General tab. So Preferences, General tab. Language, this lets you choose System Default or the language of your choice from the drop-down menu. System is generally what the default language is on your computer. Then there's I want to access content rated. This allows you to choose what maturity level of content you are able to access in world. General, moderate, and adult allows you access to all content. To enable this option, the date of birth you entered when signing up for Second Life needs to make you 18 or over now. General and moderate limits you to general and moderate content, and general will limit you to general content. There's the Start Location drop-down menu. This allows you to choose the default login location that shows on the login screen, be it My Home or My Last Location. And there's a checkbox to the right of that, and that's Show on Login. I highly recommend it. This shows the login location picker on the login screen. And with this enabled, there's a great feature in the privacy tab that we'll talk about a little later that you need this for. Then we have a name tag section. This is where you choose how you display residence tags on your screen. So for the most part, these apply to what you see, not what others see on you. One exception which I will point out. Off means you don't see any tags. On means tags will always be visible. And Show Briefly will show the tags temporarily, and you can adjust the time they show through the box to the right. And you can enable or disable the following. My Name, when this is unchecked, it will not show your tag. Again, this is for your view only. Others will still see it if they have it on. Group Titles. When this is unchecked, it hides all group titles on your screen, yours and everybody else's, for your view. View Display Names. When this is checked, allows seeing display names. Highlight Friends. This colors the tags of those on your friends list differently from those not on your list. Legacy Name Tag Positioning. With this enabled, the name tag will stay fixed at the avatar location and it won't follow the avatar head if it moves because of animations. So when you see that tag moving around, that's not actually where the avatar is, that's where the head is. With this enabled, the tag stays still. Usernames, when this is checked, it will show usernames on your screen. And you can have display names or usernames or both enabled. The way you set these affects all instances of names in the viewer. Thus, if you want to see display names someplace, you would need them enabled. The same with the usernames. Then we come to this one, hide own group title. This allows you to hide your own group title. This is the exception. No one else will see your group title with that enabled. Legacy names instead of usernames. With this enabled, it will show legacy names. That's a first name and a last name with capitalization and a space between the names if there is any, if there is a last name. Instead of usernames where it's first name dot last name, or just the user's name if they don't have a last name. All lowercase, no spaces. Does require having usernames enabled. Trim resident from legacy names. This will remove the resident place marker and tags. Then we have the away timeout. This will set you to away if there is no mouse or keyboard input for the number of minutes you set here. Your choices are 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or never. There's also an option beside that, sit one away. And this will sit your avatar down when you go into away mode if you're standing. This can be useful to avoid either playful friends or griefing. My SL family, we have a game that we play. If you don't have your move lock on, we're going to push you into the pond or off the build platform, or, yeah. We have a twisted sense of humor. Log out after being marked away. With this drop down, you can make a choice and it will log you out after being away for the number of minutes you set here. And your choices are 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, or never. The top right of this tab, we have some extras. There's the option use web profiles by default. This displays user profiles as web profiles rather than in a profile window. And pressing letter keys. Now this is the same setting as in preferences chat that we'll talk about in a little bit. And you can start local chat or you can have it affect movement. That's for using the WASD keys. WASD, CEF, and M keys. Any questions on this tab, folks? That's okay, I needed a mouthful of tea anyhow. Let's move on to the chat tab. In particular, the general sub-tab that you will find under the chat tab. We have your chat window font size. You can choose small, medium, large, or huge. And we have your on-screen or console font size. You can, again, choose small, medium, large, or huge. So the chat window one is in any window. The on-screen or console font size is that text that can scroll up from the bottom of your screen. Right on your screen, not in a separate window. And you can enable or disable the following. Always display group chats, IM sessions, and nearby chat in uppercase. We'll show all chat as uppercase on your screen. Very handy for those visually impaired. Everything's in caps. Play typing animation when chatting. Your avatar will play the typing animation when chatting and local with this enabled. Play avatar animations. For example, think of shouting and whispering. When you shout, your hands come up to your mouth, your head goes back. You look like you're screaming at the moon or the sun or whatever happens to be up there. Hear typing sound when people type in local chat. You can enable this if you want to hear this sound, disable it if you don't. You'll only hear the sound if they are using a typing animation. Send typing notifications to other avatars during IM sessions. This will allow others to see so-and-so is typing in their IM windows. Enable auto-completion of gestures in the nearby chat bar. With this enabled, type gestures will auto-complete as you type them. And enable automatic name prediction in the nearby chat bar. This allows for names in local to predict the name you're typing based on the letters typed and the avatars within your radar range. Wrap system chat messages in brackets. This makes system messages distinct by enclosing them in brackets. System messages are messages from Second Life. Show you in chat transcripts instead of your name. This replaces your name in any chat transcripts. Show names in direct IMs. If this is disabled, usernames are not shown on each line in the IMs. Email me IMs when I'm offline. This will send any offline IMs to the email that you have on file with Linden Lab. At least that's the official story. There's a bug with it at the moment. They're not all getting passed on. There's a Linden Lab JIRA about it. Use V1 style chat headers. This makes the chat look like the old V1 style as it removes the line above the actual chat. And it places the speaker's name and text on the same line, and optionally the timestamps. When using V2 or 3 style chat headers, show mini icons. This shows the icon in the grouper IM chat next to the name. If they use V1 style chat headers as enabled, this will not show. Even if enabled, it requires the V2 style chat headers. Show the end of the last conversation. If this is enabled, the last few lines of the last conversation you had with that group or person will be shown in your IM windows. This does require that chat transcripts be enabled in your Preferences Privacy General subtab, which I promise you we'll get to in a little while. Show chat in bubbles above avatars. This puts local chat in bubbles above avatars' heads. And not in the scrolling chat console at the bottom of the screen. Takes the local chat console's place. Show typing indicator in bubbles above avatars. This indicates that an avatar is typing by displaying a bubble above that avatar's head. The text itself will appear according to your settings. I love that one. It lets me know if somebody's typing a question in the class. And pressing letter keys gives 2 options. Having a little deja vu, are we? It can start local chat, or it can affect movement using the WASD keys, WASD, C, E, F, and M. Show IMs in lets you choose to show IMs in separate windows or in tabs in the conversations window. If you have tabs, then the chat tab mode orientation options allow you to choose to have your tabs either horizontal, which puts them across the bottom of the chat window, conversation window, or vertical. This puts them on the left-hand side. That's the default. Name format for IM tabs. This lets you choose how the names show on IM tabs, and your choices are the display name, the username, or the display name and then the username, or the username and then the display name. Any questions on this tab? How did I know it was going to be this one? It's not going to work so well. Let's try this again. You mean the chat bubbles, Kit? Or the typing indicator ones? Well, the console. You'll see little bubbles over everybody's heads. There we go. There's an answer to Geffy's question. Now you all know why I don't type much, right? Alright, so let's move on to the notifications subtab. We have enable incoming chat pop-ups. This allows group and or IM chats to appear on screen in either your console or toast, whichever you set below. You can use the console for chat pop-ups instead of floating toasts. That's viewer 1 style. And this displays chat in the on-screen left-hand console rather than as toasts. Show IMs in the chat console. This will show IMs in your chat console as well. Again, this is on the screen, not in the conversations window. You'll still have them there, but you can have them without having the windows open. Show group chat in chat console. We'll show a group chat in the chat console. Again, this is on the screen, not in the conversations window. There's a length of group names to be printed in the chat history. Setting it to 0 will turn it off. Setting it to -1 shows the full group name. And setting it to 1 or higher shows the group name truncated to however many characters are set there. The square brackets aren't counted. Open conversations when an offline message has been received. This opens the conversations window if you have any offline messages waiting when you first log in. Show IMs in the nearby chat window. This shows the text of received IMs in the nearby chat window. Save IMs in nearby chat. This enables the logging of IMs along with local chat. It does require that local chat be logged, which can be enabled on the privacy tab, the one that I keep teasing you with. Fade IM text into the background of chat history. 0.25 for the most fade, 1 for no fade at all. Just allows you to visually identify it a little easier. Announce incoming IMs as soon as the sender starts typing. This opens an IM tab or window as soon as someone starts typing to you. Flash IM tabs when friends come online or go offline. This will visually notify you when friends log in or out if you have an IM tab open with them. Flash the chat toolbar button if a new nearby chat arrives. The nearby chat window must be docked to the conversations window, and this must be closed for the button to flash. Flash chat toolbar if a new IM arrives. The IM window must be docked to the conversations window and must be closed for this button to flash. Also, this option is only available if IMs are shown as tabs rather than separate windows. Report muted group chat in nearby chat. If chat starts in a group which you have muted, a message to that effect will be displayed in nearby chat just lets you know that something is still happening in those groups, even though you have them muted by one means or another for whatever reason. And group chat can be muted or disabled on the group's profile window now, quite easily. When receiving instant messages and when receiving group instant messages will allow you to hear a sound when you get a message. And your options are to play a sound only on a new IM session, play a sound on every message received, play a sound only if not in focus, and don't play any notification sound. Then we have show group notices in group chats in addition to toasts. If this is enabled, the text of group notices gets displayed in the group chat window, as well as getting your little toast pop-up group notice. Then there's show their subjects and authors as well. This will show the title and the sender of notices in the group chat as well. Any questions on this tab, folks? I'll take that as a no, either that or you've all gone to sleep. Quick, nudge your neighbor, see if they're awake. Next comes the Firestorm sub-tab. And at the top we have chat and IM enhancements. First one is colon as a synonym for /me. This is used in role-playing. And it allows the use of a colon instead of /me to indicate an action or an emote. For example, colon nods in agreement would appear as so-and-so nods in agreement. Please note that there is no space between the colon and the first word. Emotes use italic font. This makes all emotes show as italicized text on your screen. Auto-close OOC parentheses. This is used in role-playing. When you enter a message in RP mode, it's assumed that they're speaking as their character. To communicate something outside a character, they enclose their messages with double parentheses, leading and trailing. So when this option is checked, the viewer will automatically append the double trailing parentheses to a message if they're not there. For example, double parenthesis, this is OOC, would result in this is OOC, surrounded by leading and trailing double parentheses. Bold shouting or italicized whispering. This will show shouting in bold text and whispering in italicized text in local chat. Add a chat bar to the nearby chat window. This toggles the chat bar in the nearby chat window. If it's unchecked, your nearby chat window will have no chat bar. You use the one at the bottom of the screen instead. Show channel selection in the chat bar. This enables the channel selector in the nearby chat bar. Handy if you're working with scripts a lot. And show chat type send chat button in the chat bar. This adds a button in your nearby chat that you can scroll to say, whisper, or shout, and you can use it to click on instead of hitting enter. Autohide main chat bar. If this is enabled, then the chat bar at the bottom of your screen will close after you've typed something. Starting to type anything again will cause it to reopen. Now, if you have both the WASD selection and pressing letter keys enabled and the Autohide, you'll need to hit enter or return before you can begin typing in an auto-hidden chat bar. Deselect chat after sending messages. Simply moves your cursor out of the chat bar after you send a message. Mark objects with no name when they speak to avoid spoofing. This allows object names in chat to be clicked so that you can get information about them, their creator, owner, etc. This can be useful in griefing situations. Then we have a group chat section. Enable group moderator message highlighting. This option will make text posted by group moderators stand out in group chat so that you can easily tell which poster has moderator rights. The two options may be combined, or you can set them differently or the same. It's up to you. And the name style and the text style drop-down menus both have the same options. There's normal, bold, italic, bold and italic, underlined, bold and underlined, bold, italic and underlined. Lots of choices for you. Next option is disable all group chats. This prevents group chats from opening automatically when another user IMs the group. And there's when received group notices is disable group chat as well. This turns off group chat from any group from which you are not receiving group notices. And group text chat may now be disabled independently of group notices in the group's profile window. Now, please note you can still open group chats manually from the group list with this checked, and an already open tab will still receive text. This option simply prevents the automatic creation of a new tab when a new group message is received. Then we have timestamps. These are the options relating to IM timestamps and local chat logging. You can see the privacy tab for other chat log options, and the network and cache for your chat logs locations. So we have show timestamps in, and you can select whether to show timestamps in nearby chat, IMs, as well as transcripts. And there's an option to show seconds in your timestamps. This adds seconds to the timestamps if you're really picky about that sort of thing, like I am. Then there's the console section. Use classic draw mode for console. This changes the chat console background to surround all visible text instead of displaying separate backgrounds per line of chat. There's an option to use the full screen width for the console, and this allows chat to be the full width of the screen. A little too crazy for me, personally. And you have the option to fade chat after whatever number of seconds you want to put in there and whatever number of lines. So that's how long the chat console shows and how many lines show before they fade out. Any questions on this tab? That's okay, I'm still going to drink tea, Kimmy. So far, at least. Alright, so let's move on to the radar subtab. This is where you can choose what alerts you get, as well as optionally enabling a sound to be played. You can preview the sounds by clicking on the P button, and you can restore the default sound by clicking on the D button. Want to change these sounds? Get a new UUID. So simply find a sound in your inventory that has full permissions. Then right-click on the sound and select Copy Asset UUID from the menu. Then simply paste that value into the appropriate text box. So you can have the radar report when avatars enter or leave chat range, and it'll do just that. You can have the radar report when avatars enter or leave your draw distance. Does just exactly what it says. And radar reports when avatars enter or leave the region. All work, although if you're in a really busy region, I don't think I'd want it set to every time they entered the region. Then there's report, enter, and exit alerts to scripts. This is the same function that's available from the People Panel gear menu, and it will output the radar information to user scripts. You can set that channel with the debug setting, radar alert channel. Note that the name shown in radar, and as well as in the nearby chat window, can now be clicked on to open a profile. Any questions on this tab? And I guess that's a no. Next comes the Keyword Alert subtab. Alright, top, Enable Keyword Alerts. This enables using keyword alerts. When it's enabled, then you can look for keywords in chat. With that enabled, it'll watch local chat for the presence of these keywords. And look for keywords and IMs in group chat. When this is checked, the alert system monitors IM in group chat for the presence of these keywords. So alerts are not triggered by a group chat that is not open. There's a text box here. It says keywords separated by commas, and this specifies the list of words that will trigger an alert. They can be individual words or phrases, and they are separated by commas. More about that in a second. There's Enable Color Alert. When this is checked, any messages that are to be alerted will have their color changed to what's specified in the color selector. And there's Play Alert Sound. This enables playing a sound identified by its UUID. And the alert sound UUID, you can put a different one in there if you want. Same thing, just find a sound that's full perm in your inventory, right-click, copy asset UUID from the menu, then paste that value into the text box. Are there any questions about keyword alerts? I'm gonna, they can be very handy. When this first came out, I decided I would use it, and whenever somebody said ed, I'd get an alert. So I typed ed, then a comma, typed a couple other words, with commas in between them. Changed the color and found a very annoying sound in my inventory, one that went, alert, alert, alert. Do you have any idea how many places the letters E and D come together in Second Life? Sigh. It was interesting. Anyhow, there is a workaround, folks. The whole point of the story is that if you typed a space and then an E and then a D and then a space and then a comma, you would only get it when the letters ED were all by themselves. Just to show you that there are workarounds. Spaces are recognized, yes. So we'll move on to the text input subtab. The auto replace button, this opens the auto replace window where you can enable this feature as well as add or remove lists and entries. We cover this in our odds and ends 2 class. Definitely a very cool feature. Come on out to an odds and ends 2 class and we'll have you using it in no time at all. Spell checking button opens the spell checking window where you can enable this feature as well as choose the dictionary to use. And sadly, the translations button. This opens the chat translation settings window where you can specify if you want chat to be translated and which service to use. Neither one is free. And the double chat bubble at the top of the nearby chat window will also toggle that translation on or off. Alright, so with no further ado, let's move on to that tab I've been teasing you with all night, the Privacy tab. And we're going to start on the General subtab. There's a Clear History button. This will clear your login image, last location, teleport history, your web, and your texture cache. Only use it if you absolutely have to, folks. We hate you clearing your cache unless you need to. Publish my avatar in search listings. When this is enabled, it allows anyone to find you using search, which they can anyway if they know your full username. Only friends and groups know I'm online. Allows only people on your friends list to see if you're online by looking at your profile. Please note that the Linden scripting language has a function that will still show your true online status to anyone. I've heard a rumor that one of the other viewers has snuck something like that back in, but I haven't managed to test it yet. Then we have this one. Only friends or groups can call or IM me. When this is enabled, it allows only friends and groups to be able to IM or call you. We do not recommend enabling this because you could IM me and I'd see what you wrote. But if you had that enabled and I'm not on your friends list, you will not see anything I write back to you. Switch off microphone when ending calls. This turns off your microphone when you get a private voice call. It's recommended and enabled by default. This can save a little bit of embarrassment. Not that you've ever been out at a club with your significant other and either sweet-talking them or making fun of other people in the club when your partner crashed and you didn't notice and you're still babbling away in voice and all of a sudden everybody in the club can hear you and you feel like crawling away. No, that would never happen, right? Automatically accept new inventory items. Will automatically accept any inventory offers from avatars. Use legacy inventory offer. Accept and decline messages. If this is enabled, the viewer will only send accept and decline messages after you press the button. If it's disabled, the accept response gets sent automatically as soon as the inventory offer has been received. This option has no effect on whether inventory offers are automatically accepted or not. Automatically show newly accepted items in inventory. This will open the inventory window focused on that item when you receive an item. Automatically view note cards, textures, and landmarks after accepting. This will open note cards, textures, and landmarks after you accept them. Create particle effects upon giving inventory objects to other avatars. This will show a swirl of particles around you when you give things to others. And then we have this one. Show my favorite landmarks at login via the Start At drop-down menu. This allows any landmarks that are saved in your favorites folder to be accessed directly from the login screen. Thus, you can log directly into any landmark that you have in your favorites. Wonderful for rolling restarts days, because I know those 3 favorites are on a RC region, so they're safe on a Tuesday for me to log in on. On Wednesday, all the rest of them are safe. Just stay away from the RCs when I'm trying to log in. Then there's the option to save chat logs. This is where you can enable or disable saving chat logs, as well as add timestamps and or dates. Your chat log locations are defined in your Preferences, Network, and Cache tab. Now, to be clear, the term log now refers to the correlation between the avatar name and the UUID, as well as the start time a conversation was opened. And the transcripts are the actual text of the conversations. So the logs are just a list of names and groups that you've spoken to. The transcripts are the actual text from those conversations. There's an option to save nearby chat transcripts. You would enable that to save local chat. And the log transcripts drop-down allows you to select what you want to save. You can save the log and the transcripts. You can save the log only, or you can have no log or transcripts. IMs are automatically saved by default, folks. There's a couple buttons here you need to be aware of. The clear log, that will erase your stored log. And delete transcripts will delete any saved transcripts. There's a use legacy file name format for transcripts. Enable this to use the older style file name for transcripts. Username as more like the old style legacy names instead of the new one where it's username all lowercase. Yeah, it certainly can, Momo. Add date stamp to transcript file names. If this is enabled, log file names will have the current date included in the file name. It's not recommended. Breaks up your chat history, but some people like it. There's the option to use the built-in transcript viewer. Enable this to use the built-in text viewer when accessing your chat history. And manage the block or mute list. This is people and or objects you have blocked. This simply opens your block or mute list. Any questions on this tab, folks? Yeah, Momo, it should have no effect. If they're muted, it should automatically just reject anything. The automatically accept is should have no effect on whether somebody's blocked or not. The automatically accept, it only puts it in until, yeah. I don't automatically accept anything personally. That's my personal take on it. But, you know, some people don't want to be clicking accept. So. You mean of your chat logs, Kit? Yeah, you can put them wherever you want. Make a folder and then navigate to it after clicking the set button. Alright, so let's have a look at the Look At subtab. Show Look At targets. This is a global toggle to enable the Look At crosshairs. These indicate a camera's focus point, not necessarily where a person's camera actually is. Don't show me my Look At targets. If this is enabled, this option inhibits the display of your own Look At crosshairs on your screen. Show names for Look At targets. In this drop-down menu, you can select whether to show avatar names on the Look At crosshairs. And your options are none, complete name, display name, legacy name, or username. Then there's the option don't send my Look At target to others. This prevents your camera focus point from showing to others. They may still see it floating right around your head, but they will not see it where you focus. And don't send any Look At targets, not even to myself. This prevents your avatar's head from moving to face a point that your camera is focused on in your view. This head movement is not necessarily visible to others, whether or not this option is enabled. And lastly, don't send my selection target hints. This prevents your selection point from showing to others. This also disables that pointing animation when you right-click and select on things. Any question on anything on this tab, folks? I'll take that as a no. Be aware. No, be alert. The world needs more alerts. I don't think we need more wares. Well, maybe. Oh yeah, it doesn't control your particle beam, Momo. Not at all. Actually, it's localized from your hand to the center of your avatar. The beam actually still shows unless you have it disabled. Alright, next comes the Auto Response subtab. This is where you can enter text for the various auto responses available to you, and we've got a lot of them. There's an automatic response when in unavailable. That's busy mode. This puts the busy, you put the message in here that you want when you go into busy mode. And to enable it, you go to the top menu bar, COM menu, online status. Not necessarily, Kit. Automatic response to all avatars when in auto response mode. This is where you just want to go into auto response mode. Again, you enable it in the COM menu, online status, submenu, auto respond. There's an automatic response for non-friends when in auto response to non-friends mode. Similar to the above, but it's sent when you turn that on in the COM menu, online status submenu. There's an automatic response to all avatars when in reject teleport offers mode. This message gets displayed when you enter the COM menu, online status, automatically reject teleport offers. And send an auto response to muted avatars. If this is enabled, then a message will be sent if someone that you have muted sends you an IM. The text can be specified in the text box below this option. And send auto response when in away mode. If this is enabled, then a message will be sent if someone sends you an IM when you're in away mode. And again, the text can be specified in the text box below this option. Any questions? No? All right. In that case, congratulations, you made it through the class. I want to thank you personally for taking the time to come out to this class. It's huge to not only myself, but the other members of the support team that you're willing to come out and learn. I also want to thank you on behalf of the entire Phoenix Firestorm team for using our viewer. You, the viewer users, are the reason that Firestorm is as popular as it is. And I know I say it after every class to you regulars, but I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it, folks. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And that means it's open question and answer time. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask, and I will do my best to answer them.
The auto response for people that you muted, is there anything in like the TSA that says like you can, like, if you want to be rude, like go F yourself or something like that? Is that against the rules? Just curious.
It's the same as you'd be anywhere else in Second Life, I guess. Honestly. Mine's very overly polite, but that's due to my position on the team. I think it gets the message across nonetheless.
You can't set it for like different people that you muted, right? It's all like the same thing?
Yeah, it's all the same thing, all the same response. I thought mine was cute. I'm sorry. In order to protect you from a possible manslaughter charge, I have had to mute you, as you have obviously caused my blood pressure to raise to dangerously high levels. Please have a nice day. Momo, no. Sadly, there's not. At least not that I'm aware of. Fulbright textures have their place. Sadly, it's not most places.